live from North Vancouver. North Vancouver. It's been a while. It's been a few days. A few days off. making bagels. Bagel. So I don't have much to say this morning. I'm just gonna bake bagels and recite poetry. Yes, the oven is gas heated. I know in Montreal they use a wood-fired oven, but here we use a gas-fired. Seagulls in Kitsilano, they also use a wood-fired oven as well. Wood-fired ovens are nice, but they you gotta haul the fuel. You know, like you have to get wood, and they're a little bit messier. There's more of a fire danger with them. You have to constantly watch the wood fire ovens. It's hard to get the heat right, so you know it's just a little bit more practical. Currently we're just baking bagels. When I first started here about 4 years ago, we used to bake arugula and stuffed bagels, but we haven't baked those in a while. And we're developing new products right now, but we're busy right now opening new stores, and we don't have a full commissary yet. So once we open our fourth location, we'll have more space and we'll be able to do more products. These are mahogany boards. This is called a shiva. This is how I move. This is how I move the bagels around in the oven. Sorry, I missed that one. I apologize if I miss your comment. I just have my phone up there. You can smell the bagels through Periscope. Yeah. It does smell pretty good. Especially the we have a cinnamon apple. That one smells really good. And I like the smell of hot sesame. Hot sesame smells great. Roasted sesame. So these are Montreal style bagels, which means we boil them in honey water, and they tend to be a little bit. The crust is a little bit more crunchy, and they tend to be smaller, denser, and sweeter. with a nice hard crust. I think of them as sort of being like the bread equivalent, or the baked equivalent to a Smartie. They have a hard crust with a soft inside. Getting hot in here. Thanks for watching. Come back soon. Nice. I like New York style bagels too. I like all kinds of bagels. Well, for those who've watched before, you know that I like to recite poetry. Or well, I need to expand my repertoire. I'm working on it. But currently the only really long poem I know right now is Pied Piper Hamlin. As many of you might know, you've watched before. But anyways, this is the Pied Piper of Hamlin by Robert Browning. It's about 300 lines long. It takes me about 10 minutes to recite, I think. I've never really timed it before, I should time it. Hamlin towns in Brunswick, by famous Hanover city, the river Weser deep and wide washes. I'm gonna start over again. Hamlin towns in Brunswick, by famous Hanover city, the river Weser deep and wide washes its wall on the southern side. a pleasanter spot you never spied. But when begins my ditty, almost 500 years ago, to see the townsfolk suffer so, from vermin was a pity. Rats, they fought the dogs and killed the cats, and bit the babies in the cradles, and ate the cheeses from the vats, and licked the soup from the cook's own ladles. Split open the kegs of salted sprats, made nests in the men's Sunday hats, and even spoiled the women's chats by drowning out their speaking with shrieking and squeaking in 50 different sharps and flats. At last the people in a body to the town hall came flocking. "'Tis clear," cried they, "our mayor is a naughty, and as for our corporation, shocking to think we buy gowns lined with ermine, for dolts who can't or won't determine what's best to rid us of our vermin. You hope because you're old and obese to find in the furry civic robes ease. Rouse up, sirs, give your brains a racking, to find the remedy we are lacking, or sure as fate will send you packing." At this the mayor and corporation quaked with a mighty consternation. An hour they sat in council. At length the mayor broke silence. "For a gilder I'd my ermine gown sell. I wish I were a mile hence. It's easy to bid one rack one's brain. I'm sure my poor head aches again. I scratch it so, but all in vain. Oh, for a trap, a trap, a trap." Just as he said this, what should hap? At the chamber door but a gentle tap. "Bless us," cried the mayor, "what's that?" With the corporation as he sat, looking little through wondrous fat. Nor brighter were his eyes, nor moister, nor too long opened oyster, save when at noon his paunch grew mutinous, for a plate of turtle green and glutinous. Only a scraping of shoes on a mat, anything like the sound of a rat makes my heart go pit-a-pat. "Come in," cried the mayor, looking bigger, and in did come the strangest figure. His long quick coat and gilded head was half yellow and half red, and he himself was tall and thin, with sharp blue eyes each like a pin, and light loose hair and swarthy skin, nor tuft of hair on cheek nor beard on chin, but lips where smile went out and in. There was no guessing his kith or kin, and nobody could enough admire this old man in his quaint attire. Quoth one, "It's as my great-grandsire, starting up at the trump of doom's tone, had walked this way from his painted tombstone." He advanced towards the council table, and "Please, your honor," said he, "I am able, by means of secret charm, to draw all the creatures living beneath the sun, that crawl or swim or fly or run, after me so as you never saw. And I chiefly use my charm on creatures that do people harm, the mole and toad and newt and viper. People call me the Pied Piper." And here they noticed round his neck a scarf of red and yellow stripe, to match with his coat the self-same check. And that scarf's end hung a pipe, and his fingers, they noticed, were ever straying, as if impatient to be playing upon this pipe, as low it dangled over his vesture so old-fangled. "Yes," said he, "Pied Piper as I am, in Tartary I fred the cam. Last June through the streets swarms of gnats, I eased in Asia the Nizam of a monstrous brood of vampire bats. And as for what your brain bewilders, if I rid your town of rats, will you give me 1,000 guilders?" 50,000 was the exclamation of an astonished mayor and corporation. Into the street the piper stepped, smiling first a little smile, as if he knew what magic slept in his quiet pipe the while. Like a musical adept, to blow his pipe his lips he wrinkled, and green and blue his sharp eyes twinkled, like a candle flame where salt is sprinkled. And ere 3 shrill notes the pipe uttered, as if an army muttered, and a muttering grew to a grumbling, and a grumbling grew to a mighty rumbling, and out of the houses came the rats tumbling, great rats, small rats, lean rats, brawny rats, brown rats, black rats, gray rats, tawny rats, grave old plotters, gay young friskers, fathers, mothers, uncles, cousins, cocking tails and pricking whiskers, families by tens and dozens, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, followed the Pied Piper for their lives. From street to street he piped advancing, and step to step they followed dancing, until they came to the river Weser, wherein all plunged and perished, save one who, stout as Julius Caesar, swam across and lived to carry, as he the manuscript he cherished, to Ratland Homer's commentary, which was, at first shrill notes of the pipe, I heard a sound as of scraping tripe, and putting apples wondrous ripe, into the cider presses bright. And it seemed as if a voice, moving away tickle cupboard, and leaving a jar of concert covered, and a drawing of torch of train oil flask, and a breaking the roots of butter casks. And it seemed as if a voice, sweeter far than my heart would by solemnly and breathe, called out, "O rats, rejoice! The world has grown to a vast dry saltery. So munch on, crunch on, take your nunch on, breakfast, supper, dinner, lunch on, and just as a bulky sugar punch on, already stayed like a great sun shone, gracious scarce an inch before me, just as we thought it said come for me, I found the western rolling over me. You should have heard the Hampton people ring the bells till they rocked the steeple. Go, cried the mayor, get long poles, poke out the nests and block up the holes. Consult with carpenters and builders, and leave in our town not even a trace of the rats. One suddenly up the face of Piper Perk in the marketplace, the first of you please, my 1,000 guilders. 1,000 guilders, the mayor looked blue, so did the corporation too, for council dinners made rare havoc, with Clarier Moselle bidding to draw a pot, and half the money would replenish their cellar's biggest butt of Rhenish, to pay this sum to a wondering fellow, with gypsy coat of red and yellow. Besides, quoth the mayor annoyingly, our business was done at the river's brink. We saw with our eyes the vermin sink, and what's good can't come to life, I think. So, friend, we're not folks to shrink from our duty of giving you something to drink, and a matter of money to put in your coat. But as for the guilders, what we spoke of them, as you well know, was in joke. Besides, our losses have made us 50. 1,000 guilders, come, take 50. The piper's face fell and he cried, no trifling, I can't wait beside. I promise a visit by dinner time, Baghdad, and accept the prime of the head cook's potage. All he's rich in, for having left in the king's kitchen of a nest of scorpions, no survivor. With him I prove no bargain driver. With you don't think I'll bake a stiver. And folks who put me in a passion may find me pipe after another fashion. How, cried the mayor, do you think I broke, being worse treated than a cook, insulted by a rival, with idle pipe and vesture pliable? Threaten us, fellow, do your worst, blow your pipe there till you burst. Once more he stepped into the street, and to his lips again laid his long pipe of smooth straight cane, and ere he blew 3 notes, such sweet soft notes as yet musicians cunning never gave the raptured air. There was a rustling that seemed like a bustling of varied crowds justly up pitching and hustling. Small feet were pattering, wooden shoes clattering, little hands clapping, and little tongues chattering, and like falls in a farmyard where barley is scattering, out came the children running, all the little boys and girls, with rosy cheeks and flaxen curls, and sparkling eyes and teeth like pearls, tripping and skipping ran merrily after. Wonderful music was shouting with laughter. The mayor was dumb and the council stood, as if they were changed into blocks of wood, unable to move a step or cry, to the children merrily skipping by, could only follow with an eye that joyous crowd at the piper's back, and how the mayor was on the rack, and the wretched council's bosoms beat, as the piper turned from the high street, to where the Weser rolled its waters, right in the way of their sons and daughters. However, he turned from south to west, and took up a Burke Hill his steps addressed, and after him the children pressed. Great was the joy in every breast. He never can cross the mighty top. He's forced to let the piping drop, and we shall see our children stop. When lo, they reached the mountainside, a wondrous portal opened wide, as if a cavern was suddenly hollowed. The piper advanced, and the children followed. And when all were in to the very last, the door in the mountainside shut fast. Did I say all? No, one was lame, and could not dance the whole of the way. In and after years, if you would blame his sadness, he was used to say, is dull on our town since our playmates left. I can't forget that I'm bereft of all the pleasant sights they see, which the piper also promised me. Before he led us, he said, to a joyous land, joining the town just at hand, where waters gushed and fruit trees grew, and flowers put forth a fairer hue, and everything was strange and new. The sparrow was brighter than the peacock here, and their dogs outran our fallow deer, and honeybees lost their stings, and horses were born with eagle's wings. And just as I became assured, my lame foot be speedily cured, the music stopped and I stood still, and found myself outside the hill, left behind against my will, to go now limping as before, and never hear of that country more. Alas, alas for Hamelin, that came into many a burgher's pate, a text which says that heaven's gate opes to the rich at as easy rate, as the needle's eye takes a camel in. The mayor sent east, west, north, and south, to offer the piper by word of mouth, wherever it was men's lot to find him, silver and gold to his heart's content, if only he'd return the way he went, and bring the children behind him. But when he saw it was lost and ever, and piper and dancers were gone forever, they made a decree that lawyers never should think their records dated duly, if after the day of the month and year, these words do not as well appear. And so long after what happened here, on the 22nd of July, 1376, and the better memory to fix, the place is the last children's will retreat. They called it the Pied Piper Street, where anyone playing pipe or tabor was sure for his future lose his labor, nor suffer they hospital or in tavern, shocked with birth the street so solemn, and opposite the place of the cavern, they wrote the story on a column, and on the great church window painted, the saying to make the world acquainted, how their children were stolen away, and there it stands this very day. And I must omit to say, that in Transylvania there is a tribe of alien people who ascribe their way in dress, of which their neighbors laid such stress, to their fathers and mothers having risen out of some subterranean prison, into which they were trepanned long time ago in a mighty band, out of Hamlet town in Brunswick land, but how or why they don't understand. That's the poem. All 300 lines of it. Hello. Sorry, I missed your name there. Hi. I'm glad you're watching. Feel free to make comments or ask questions. If you feel like it, you can even troll me if you want. I don't mind. Go ahead, troll me. Greetings, comrade. I like Russia. I like Dostoevsky and Rachmaninoff, Tchaikovsky. Sorry, I'm not very good with the names though. Rachmaninoff is one of my favorite classical composers, and Dostoevsky is definitely one of those classical writers that I admire very much. Russia is a great civilization. War and Peace. I haven't read War and Peace. I should read it. I've read Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. Who wrote War and Peace? Was it Tolstoy or Tolstoy? I don't know. I haven't read much Tolstoy actually. Tolstoy. I read The Brothers Karamazov, and right after high school, so it's been a long time since I've read anything by him. Oh, he wrote War and Peace? Are you sure? I thought that was Tolstoy. I might be wrong too, I don't know. I know Dostoevsky wrote Crime and Punishment. And he wrote The Brothers Karamazov and Notes from the Underground. And I don't know, he wrote a lot of books. In university I was a literary major, so I took English. I was an English major. I didn't graduate with an English degree though. I have a Bachelor of Communication and Art, a Bachelor of Arts in Communication and Culture with a double minor in English and Art. The work that I know best by Dostoevsky is Crime and Punishment, though. I read that one, like, my last 2 years of high school. I need to go back and reread them. Oh, sorry, I missed that. Oh, that was a long comment. Sorry, I missed that. Comments need to... They need to stay up there a bit longer. I can't see my screen very good. I need to get a bigger screen or something. Or glasses, I don't know. Crime and Punishment. All I remember is it's about a young a young student, like I guess a university level student that he was struggling with poverty and sorry, I missed that one too. Yeah. He justifies murdering this old lady, and then he murders this old lady with an axe, and then he's ridden with paranoia and guilt. I don't remember how. I need to reread that book. I don't remember the plot very well. It's been a very long time. Or I just need to read a synopsis. Yeah. Sweet. Yeah, I didn't think Dostoevsky wrote War and Peace. That was Tolstoy. Tolstoy. I haven't read, like I said, I haven't read much Tolstoy. I read, what was it? It was one of his last books, one of his last novels. I just read it recently too. I don't remember it. It was about a Muslim warrior. What was that comment about? Half of it's French? Sorry, I didn't see that one. Lately, I've been trying to read a lot of American American fiction. I don't have a lot of time to read, but when I do, I try to read. I've been reading Zora Neale Hurston's Their Eyes Were Watching God. That's a good book. Well, half of it's in Russian, half in French, eh? like I said, I haven't read it. I should read it. I know it's a really long book, so it'll probably take me forever to read. I've been more interested in poetry lately. I have more time. Like, you know, a poem doesn't take very long to read. I'm a busy man. I have lots going on in my life. I remember Crime and Punishment is asking a really Nietzschean kind of question. Nice, yeah, they're delicious. You know, he's asking a very Nietzschean kind of question, like he's asking whether, you know, do the powerful, do the intellectually gifted have, what kind of moral responsibility do they have to, how much you take? How much you take? Oh yeah, idiot. Idiot. I think I started reading that one. I didn't finish that one. I struggle with Dostoevsky. I like his books, but I like his writing, but it takes me a long time to read a novel by Dostoevsky. And I know I've abandoned a few of his novels. And, like, I've always just started them and then I just sort of abandoned them because I'm just not up to the challenge, I guess. I think I might be up to the challenge now, though. I think I'm a more thorough reader now. I'm a more sophisticated reader. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. It causes an existential crisis when you read Dostoevsky. I like him though. He's a very Nietzschean kind of writer. He's like, you know, very. He struggles with questions of morality and truth and. You know, big questions. Dostoevsky is he's a. Yeah, drama and suffering, right? Yeah. Yeah, you Russians, you're a little bit dramatic. Canadians are very understated. We're a very understated kind of culture. We don't like to draw attention to ourselves. Hopefully that's changing though. We're opening up. Yeah. Drama and crisis. It makes for good reading though. think in Crime and Punishment, he's asking a question that's very, and Revolutions, yeah. I don't think of Dostoevsky as being very revolutionary, but yeah, I guess he was writing before the Bolshevik Revolution, late 19th century. I think in Crime and Punishment, he was asking the question, what responsibility do the powerful have to the weak? And, you know, like the whole psychological drama that's occurring in that novel is the, you know, sort of the internal dialogue of the main character, the protagonist. I can't remember his name. I think it's Raskolnikov, or Raskolnikov? I don't know, I can't remember his name. But he's asking the question, what do the powerful he was writing during the Tsarist Russia, I guess, right? Yeah. I know a little bit about Russian history. I don't know a lot of it. I should educate myself a little bit better, though. Seems like a lot of Russians watch Periscope. I've noticed there's a lot of Russian accounts that follow me. Yeah. Man, I can't believe I remember that. It's been such a long time since I read that book. Like, seriously, it's probably been about 20 years. Oh, I lost one. So I missed your comment. Which book Nietzsche wrote? I think it was in the Gay Signs, or what was the other one? Beyond Good and Evil. I think that's the one where he describes the difference between master morality and slave morality, and the master morality is, you know, that was sort of the, might makes right. That sort of, it's not that crude, right? Like Nietzsche was a very sophisticated philosopher. I shouldn't simplify his thinking. I admire him greatly. Thus spoke Zarathustra is one of my favorite philosophical texts. Dostoevsky was asking that question in Crime and Punishment. What obligation do the powerful have to the weak? What does right always make mighty? Does might always make right? I think that Dostoevsky really affirmed I think he was very he affirmed a very modernist interpretation of Christianity, and he was trying to reestablish Christian values for a new age. That's how I sort of look at Dostoevsky. He was sort of lamenting the loss of a grand narrative, and he was trying to reaffirm that narrative in a different way. He was trying to make Christianity relevant to a new generation that had lost their faith, or was in the process of losing their faith. And Dostoevsky was asking, what can I do? Yeah, and yeah, he was about how do we protect the vulnerable? How do we protect the weak from the powerful? And Crime and Punishment is a really good. It's a really powerful narrative, I think, when it comes to when he tries to deal with that. And for myself, what do you mean? I'm sort of getting distracted from the racing here. For me, I believe that we don't live in an absence of a world without narrative. We live the new narrative. The new narrative that has replaced the great narratives of the past is science. Science is the new. Yeah, and I think that Dostoevsky was really struggling with that question. How does society protect its most vulnerable people from the powerful? Like, do the powerful just have gratuitous power to do anything they want with the poor and the weak? Dostoevsky was asking that question. Hey, hello. I'm baking bagels in North Vancouver on Lonsdale Street, Lonsdale Ave, sorry. Lonsdale and 17th, across from the City Market and Starbucks in Esso. Come on down for a fresh bagel if you want. We open at 7. We open at 7 o'clock. My first thought was he lied with every word, that hoary cripple with malicious eye, askings to watch the working of his lie on mine, and thou scarce able to afford suppression of the glee that pursed and scored its edge at one more victim gained thereby. What else should he be set for with his staff? What saved the waylay with his lies and snare all the travelers that might find him posted there? And asked the road, I guess what skull-like laugh would break, what crutch can write my epitaph for pastime in the dusty thoroughfare. If at his counsel I should turn aside into ominous tract where all agree hides the dark tower, yet acquiescently I turn as he pointed. Neither pride nor hope rekindling at the end described, so much as gladness that some end might be. For what with my whole world wide wondering, what with my search drawn through years, my hope dwindling into a ghost, not fit to cope with that obstreperous joy success would bring. I heartily tried now to rebuke the spring, my heart made, finding failure in its scope. As a sick man very near to death, seems dead indeed, and feels begins and ends. So I didn't get that. I'm working on learning To a Dark Tower Child Roland Came by Dante Rossetti. But it's coming along slowly. I'm not sure why it's taking me so long. I only know 12 stanzas and I don't know them very well. As a sick man very close, near to death indeed, seems dead indeed, and feels begins and ends the tears, he takes farewell of each friend. And here's one bid the other go, draw breath, freely you're outside, since all is over, he saith, and the blow fallen no grieving can amend. While some discuss if near other graves be room enough for this, and when a day suits best for carrying the corpse away, with care about banners, scarfs, and staves, and still the man hears all and only craves, he may not shame such tender love and stay. Thus I had for so long suffered in this quest, heard failure prophesied so oft being writ, so many times among the band to wit, the knights who two dark towers search to dress their steps, that just to fail as they seem best, and all doubt what now was, should I be fit. Famous Canadian writers, there's quite a few. There's Alison Munro. Margaret Atwood is probably one of the writers that I admired quite a bit. She's actually, they're making a movie on Showcase based on the Handmaid's Tale. I've only read a few of her books, The Edible Woman, Oryx and Crake. I read that one a while ago. Who else? There's Leonard Cohen. He was a great literary and music figure. Who else? Great Canadian writers. Oh, there should be. I should just be able to list off hundreds of names, but I'm not. Yeah, Margaret Atwood, Alice Munro. Margaret Lawrence, Timothy Finley. I love Timothy Finley. There's a great book written by Timothy Finley where he retells the story of the biblical flood and the Noah's Ark. and what is it? Left Behind on the Voyage or something like that. I love that book. I gotta read that one again. So yeah, he was a great. I think he was an author and a playwright and an actor. Timothy Finley. Farley Mallett, another great Canadian literary figure. Canada has a great poetic tradition. There's like Susan Musgrave, Leonard Cohen, Alan Purdy, Joe Rosenblatt. So I can't think of any more Canadian writers. The guy that wrote the Book of Negroes, he was a good writer. What was his name? I can't remember his name. I read that book a long time ago. Yes, I love my job. I do love my job. It feels like I call it athletic baking. So it requires, I bake for usually 9 to 10 hours a day. So it requires endurance. I'm standing here in front of a hot oven all day. Requires it's not too bad. It gets, yeah, like I work up a sweat for sure, but I've gotten used to it. I've been doing it for quite a while now. I tolerate hot quite well. In fact, last night I went to a recreation center here actually in East Vancouver called Killarney. I sat in the sauna. I love hot, so this job suits me well. If I could, I'd live in Mexico or somewhere in South America. I'm gonna shut down the live stream in a few minutes. We open at 7 o'clock, so I probably won't be. I only work today, and then I have Monday and Tuesday off, and then I'll be back at our Main Street location on. You two have a good day. Thank you for your comments, and I hope you come back. I always love to talk about literature, so if you have if you have anything to comment about, or if you're reading anything, let me know. I usually work 4 to 5 days a week, but my schedule is a bit erratic right now, so I'm not sure. Like, the days that I'm going to be live streaming will be sort of random for a while. We're opening a new location on Commercial Drive here in Vancouver for those who are interested. It's down by Famoso Pizza. Yes, I do love my job. I'm quite glad that I found this job when I moved here 4 years ago. See where this career takes me. I've been doing this job for 4 years, but I've worked in the food industry for about over a decade probably. But I would also like to pursue my master's degree, and eventually my PhD, so that I can teach at a university or college level. But for the foreseeable future, I'm going to be baking. And that's okay with me. Pay off some debt, save some money. One day God said, "This is what I'll do. I'll send down my son to clear up I'll send him down to you to clear up this humpity-bumpty hullabaloo. His name will be Christ, and he'll never wear shoes. And his pals will all call him the King of the Jews." I'm making bagels. Montreal-style bagels. One day God said, "This is what I'll do. I'll send down my son. I'll send him down to you to clear up this humpity-bumpity hullabaloo. His name will be Christ, and he'll never wear shoes. And his pals will all call him the King of the Jews." He didn't come in a plane. He didn't come in a jeep. He didn't come in the pouch of a high-jumping Bo Peep. He rode on the back of a black Saskatoon, the blackiest creature you ever could view. He rode into Jerusalem, home of the grumpy Jews, where false prophets were worshipped, some even in twos. There was Murray von Buren, Genghis Mavuz, one he could worship taking a snooze. Thus Christ spoke from a mound, just a pile of ground. People gathered round without making a sound. Thus he spake, "Sin in socks, socks full of sin. How shall we quiet this Jehovah-y din? Do unto others as others do unto you." That includes you, Timothy Foo. Hello. Hello from North Vancouver, Canada. I've never been to Turkey. I'd love to go though. How's I know you guys bake those blessed turkey. Yes. Simmet. I want to try Simmet. Yes, Justin Trudeau is doing a fantastic job. I admire Justin Trudeau. Rodican, your president, Rodican could be doing a better job. But anyways, I gotta shut down the stream. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on Thursday. Have a great morning.